Okay, hello everyone and welcome to our Microdea webinar. We are going to get started right now. Okay, so for those of you who have attended our previous webinars, I welcome you back, and those who are joining for the first time, this is actually our 7th webinar. We do have recordings of all of our previous webinars, so feel free to request these recordings if you missed out. These webinars definitely cover some great topics around further automating for your business. So my name is Raymond Long. I am an account executive here at Microdea, and we'll be presenting today's webinar on LoadPal mobile capture alongside my colleague Todd.
Hey, I'm Todd Dowell, and I'm a customer success coach, and I work with our clients post-purchase to make sure they're getting the best out of our software.
Perfect. So we have a great topic to discuss today, and what we will be covering will be first to look at common challenges trucking companies and drivers face when sending paperwork back to the office. We will talk about what we found as a solution to these problems here at Microdea, followed by a demonstration of our mobile app, LoadPal. And after the demonstration, Todd will be sharing some use cases and discuss ideas on driver onboarding and what he has been doing today with trucking companies to tackle the topic of adoption. And as I said before, we will be recording this, so feel free to request a recording afterwards. Okay, so let's first look into what we're trying to do here. And so quite frankly, this is not a new problem. What we did over the last year was have our team reach out to as many of our customers as we can of all sizes. This was to get their feedback on what issues they experience when dealing with mobile apps, getting driver documents back, driver usage, and what they would actually want to see in an application. And so we listened. So let's first look at the common ways drivers are sending documents back. This can be through scan stations, in-cab scanners, other types of mobile apps, or even just waiting for drivers to return and drop off documents. Most of the feedback we received for these methods were typically subpar. So we asked and listened to what you all have found were issues, and commonly what we heard was images were just too poor, quality-wise, or just poorly taken by drivers. Drivers often mistyping important document information, missing images, all of these causing delays due to the back office having to request drivers to resend the images and documents. Other issues that we also heard were mobile apps were just not very configurable, or images were too large, driver adoption issues, and more. So, hearing all of your requests, our product team went to work and developed an app that aims to do the following. We make it easier for drivers to take images. We reduce the image size without losing quality. An app that can be easily configured and not restricted. We make an app easy for drivers to learn and adopt, and ways to further reduce the time it takes for images to be processed and ready to be built. And to do this, we actually created a direct integration from LoadPal app to TMS to pre-index documents and really remove the need for drivers to have to key in any information. And finally, we wanted to look at a way to price competitively. So let's dive into the app itself and show you how we solve this. So you should be looking at my screen here. I'm going to go ahead and log in. So first off, you can download the LoadPal app easily onto any Android or Apple device. Simply enter the Play Store or iTunes to find the app today. Once downloaded, the way drivers log into LoadPal is by having an account created specifically to the driver, and I'll explain why we do this. So by providing drivers their own specific accounts, in this case I'm driver number 2, we use a direct integration with your TMS to pull live loads specific to that driver via view from your TMS. So drivers will only see loads specific to themselves. So as you can see on my screen here, I have a number of different loads. The order of these loads can be configured. So once the driver actually selects the load, in this case I'm going to select F0088900, you can see on the top that there is an additional information that can assist drivers in seeing load information. This is, again, completely configurable, more fields or less, it's entirely up to you. Another benefit to the integration with the TMS is that we remove the need for drivers to enter any information, making it easier for drivers to utilize an app like this with less errors. What we do is we essentially pull from a checklist direct from the TMS listing what supporting documents are required. In this case, I have 3 documents that I need to send back. So once the image is, once I'm ready to take an image, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and take the field receipt. I can go ahead and click on the little camera icon there, and I'm going to take the first image. So in this case, on the top left, you'll see that there's multi-page function. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. I can also select automatic if I prefer that method. In this case, I'm going to manually snap the photo itself. And I'll have my second image. And once that's completed, you can see that the image, LoadPal itself actually tries to detect automatically the edges of the page. And once I'm satisfied with this, I can hit done. This is my second image. This has detected the edges correctly. I'm going to hit done again. And now, as you can see on my screen here, I could actually take a preview of both documents that I've just taken. Okay. So once I'm satisfied, if I need to make any adjustments on the bottom left, you'll see a little icon there. I could select that to actually change the image itself. I can adjust the brightness. I can adjust the contrast. I can change the grayscale, black and white. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and use original. I'm going to hit the bottom right arrow, and the image is going to be sent. So on the top right-hand corner, I just want to point out there's a little clock icon there. This actually means that the image is currently queued. So we developed a Wi-Fi only mode. So I can go into my settings here, and you can see that. This will actually this is actually created for drivers who typically only use Wi-Fi. So images are actually queued, and once Wi-Fi is detected, they are sent automatically. This is also another way to prevent any type of lost documents. So for example, if a driver is in a remote location, they lose reception, LoadPal will actually continue to queue the image, and once the reception is reconnected, the images are then sent. So once I've completed my image here, a notification has appeared, or should appear, and you can see the checkbox that the image has been sent. And on the right side here under completed, you can see that I have completed these loads. This is a queue essentially for drivers to actually go back to previous loads that they've taken, and if need be, they need to retake an image, they could simply enter the completed section here, identify the load, and retake that image if they need. And finally, we did not want to actually limit drivers. So what we did was we kept the ability to actually attach or take ad hoc images. So on the top right-hand side, you'll see the little folder icon. I can select that, and I'll actually have the choice to either take another random photograph and send back, or I can actually attach an image that I have already. So this could be images such as driver accidents or miscellaneous paperwork or driver documents. So as a driver, my job is now done. The image has been completed, and paperwork is indexed and is in the back office ready to be processed. So I can go and open up Synergize. And as you can see here as an example, I can pull up the image itself that I've just taken, the 2 pages, and this is ready to be processed. Okay, so to recap here, we simplified the app for drivers to look for loads, take images and send back to the office. We have a direct integration with your TMS to speed up ingestion and indexing, ultimately billing. We created an easy way for drivers to have visibility on completed loads and images. And finally, LoadPal provides the ability to expand its use case to other divisions. So from here, I'm going to turn this over to Todd. Todd from the customer success side will talk a little bit about how he's helped companies see success in onboarding and adoption.
Thanks, Ray. Again, my name is Todd Dowell, and I'm with the Customer Success Department. And our goal is to help you get this app up and running with the drivers as quick as possible. We're going to help create a plan to roll this out to the drivers, as well as provide some training assistance. So we'll be training your office team on the back office, on the app, how to handle driver questions about the app as well. And we monitor driver adoption and provide you with feedback on that, as well as being a single point of escalation for you within our organization to move any issues with LoadPal up so that they get resolved quickly. So from working with the clients as we roll out LoadPal, we've learned a few things, and I want to pass along some tips for rolling out technology to your drivers. I think it's important to get people from every department on board. Oftentimes, it's left to your IT team to roll out the new technology to your team. However, they may not have the existing relationship with the drivers to really help drive adoption. So it's important that we do get somebody involved from the operations team that's going to know how to use the app, is going to be able to answer those questions for the driver in a timely manner. And this is often a dispatcher or a terminal manager. The documents that are sent from LoadPal are going to be sent into Synergize and be used by your finance team. So I think it's also important to involve them. They're going to be very key in letting you know which drivers are sending great quality images and which ones might require some additional coaching on positioning the camera. The app itself is easy to use, but it really is important that you create this feedback loop from finance to operations to really drive adoption. I'm going to help you create a rollout plan, including a launch meeting if possible. It's really great if you can meet with the drivers one-on-one or in a group and quickly show them how to use the app. It really is just 5 simple steps to sending a document. So these meetings do not need to be long and can happen at the beginning of their shift or at the end of their shift. We're going to monitor usage together with a variety of reports and make sure that your team is not only logging in, but they're sending documents on a regular basis, and we'll be able to identify drivers that need additional support from your launch team. And I think it's really important to roll this out slowly at first. So take a portion of your licenses and start with a small group, potentially 10% of your licenses, and then move forward, expanding the use over time. You do not want to be in a position where you push 100% of your licenses into the field and you don't really have a handle on who's using the app and who's not. There just becomes too much noise. Rolling out groups of 10 twice a week or weekly is proven to be really the best way to roll this app out. It may seem slower, but it's actually, it drives more adoption, and you move through your drivers and get this up and running on your entire fleet quicker in the end. I just wanted to share some information about a company that I've been working with called Ecology. They're a leading transportation solution provider, and they specialize in waste disposal. They've got a fleet of over 500 drivers, and they needed a way to get scale tickets back to the office for billing quickly. They've been attempting to develop their own solution, and they've been looking at some other solutions, some of our competitors, but what they were unable to find was a solution that really integrated well with their TMS, as well as leveraged their existing investment in Synergize. So they ended up starting out with a small I guess, pilot group, I would call it. They purchased a small amount of licenses, 50 licenses, and found that it really was a great solution for them. They expanded their use to half the fleet after 30 days, and the following 30 days, 60 days into the project, they brought their entire fleet on, so over 500 drivers, and their document volume has reached 1,000 documents per day. They, of course, are seeing the benefit of getting the documents back to the office quicker, and they're able to start billing quicker. But the one unintended benefit that they found is that it really smooths the workload out for the billing department. They don't have peaks and valleys in terms of workload. The documents are coming back in a steady flow, and it allows them to process them more efficiently.
Yeah, Todd, so exactly as you said, onboarding has been such a big issue, and some of the drivers, making sure that we work with everyone to make that process easy and successful is crucial. So from here, let's move into some Q&A. I hope you all had a chance to type in your questions. If not, you could also reach out to us later if any do come to mind. We'll just kind of take a look at what we have here. Feel free to enter anything now. So start with the first question here. What's been the biggest challenge when getting drivers to use the app? So Todd, maybe this is a good question for you.
Yeah, I think we're really aware that some drivers might be adverse to technology and change, and for that reason, we've really focused on making the app easy to use. But what I want to stress is that it's not, sending an email with a download link and that's launched. It's really about putting together a team and providing some feedback to your drivers early on in the launch to ensure there's usage going on and that a habit's being formed. So pulling in those people, like I said, from operations or finance and maintaining a focus on this over a couple of weeks, 30 days, and just make sure that drivers are up and running before we, pull back on the interactions with them. You really need to make sure that they form the habit and are using it regularly before you call it on your launch.
Thanks, Todd. I have another question here. How easy is it to add or subtract drivers? So, Todd, I know you've been working with a lot of customers on this. We might have also the admin panel that we utilize here.
Sure, I can speak to it. There's 3 different ways to add drivers. If you're going to be adding 1 or 2 drivers, I think the simplest way to add them is manually through our admin console. If you're going to bring all your drivers into the system, because of the integration with the TMS, we do have an import from TMS button. Or if you wanted to bring a subset of your drivers in, you could create a XLS document and import from a file and bring just a portion of your drivers into the LoadPal system. And then once they're in there, you can provision them individually or you can provision them all at once.
Perfect. Third question we have here is, we're on an older version of Synergize. Do we need to upgrade to purchase LoadPal? I can answer that. So currently, actually, LoadPal is open in most versions of Synergize, so we typically recommend at least 12.3 and up. But to get more details, I would definitely recommend having a short call with your local account executive. Okay, we have another question here. Are document sizes manageable that we can still send using our cell data plan without a huge data plan?
Yeah, I can speak to that. There's a variety of different filters within LoadPal. Your black and white filter and your optimized filter are going to result in the smallest file sizes. Optimized is usually 100 kilobytes or less. The original or color filter are going to have file sizes in and around 250 kilobytes. Grayscale is a little larger, generally being in the 300s. And that black and white filter falls in between the optimized and color size. So, above 100 kilobytes, but smaller than the 250 kilobyte average of the color images.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Todd.
Sorry, and one other thing, if data for your driver becomes a concern, there is the Wi-Fi feature. Some of our clients, as the drivers drive into the yard, they come onto the Wi-Fi system and that sends all their documents, or they send them over Wi-Fi during lunch hour. There's a bunch of different ways to be mindful about data.
Todd, I have another good question here. Are color scans legible?
Yeah, for sure. I think color is the best representation of the document. It's a little larger file size, but it's not a deterrent to use color, and they're really great quality images. We also offer the optimized, which is not a color, it's a black and white, but it's been optimized for a smaller file size and high contrast so that barcodes can be read.
Perfect. Are the scans saved online?
The scan saved online. So once the scan has left the driver's phone, it's received by Synergize, and that's where it would reside.
Another question here. Can you use, I believe you're trying to say, can LoadPal be integrated with PeopleNet Android tablets? Thus, we don't have to rely on our driver's cell phone, etc. So the answer is yes. However, we do need to take a look at your PeopleNet tablet configuration. This may require an admin to actually unlock the particular LoadPal app to be utilized on the tablet itself. So this, I would definitely suggest to have a call with us, and we can take a look into how your tablets are set up today. Okay, another question here is, how long are documents saved in the application on the phone when completed? I guess I can start on that actually. So the completed documents actually are, this is the time that by default is about 2 weeks currently. This is completely configurable. We can actually have the documents remain on the driver's completed queue for as long as you'd like.
Yeah, I think most customers are going with roughly 10 days. However, we do have a couple of clients that want that to be much, much shorter. Usually, I think we have somebody that's saying 48 hours later they want to have that removed from the completed queue.
Perfect. So that looks like that's the last of the questions there. So again, if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to us after the webinar, and we'd be glad to help answer those. So thank you again for everyone who joined, and I hope you enjoyed what you saw. And so for further questions, if you want to see maybe a custom demo of the app, please feel free to reach out to your local account executive. Thank you all, and have a great day.